I was hoping for a raise, little bit crave, trying to understand my
Yeah, so what's up, guys? It's Data Kind Story here again, and yeah, so today I'm decided to work on something more technical. So working on certain operations, or certain tools that you enable you, analyze data, perform certain operations on your data sets, and then yeah, so I'm going to work in Excel. I know previously we have talked about, the concept, general concept about data, and then to understand if you're really interested in the career path on the concept of data. And then now it's time for us to actually delve into some of the tools that would enable you become a good data analyst, and also certain operations you can perform on those tools, because these are really what gets the job done, aside from you just understanding, the concept of data. And then today I'm going to be working on certain operations, filtering, sorting, and searching, searching for an item in a data set. And I decided to work with these particular operations because I was talking to someone recently, and then I realized that yeah, maybe certain people might not know about these operations, and then it's quite helpful because a lot of times it helps you understand your data set. You can filter and just understand, okay, what elements are there. You can search, you can perform sorting, you can help you arrange your data, and then we help in cleaning your data as well. And then yeah, so and after that, then we'll probably move on to other operations, but I'll probably be in subsequent videos that I would create. And then I mean, we can remember initially I was just thinking about, just making videos on, about graphs or pivot tables or VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, but I feel like this is also very important as well. And then yeah, so and then from there on we'll progress to other tools as well, visualization tools, and like programming languages like your SQL and your Python. So yeah, so for now, but working in Excel. Excel is very powerful. When you go for an interview, and you probably be asked questions around Excel, or you probably be asked questions on how to how to use Excel, how to perform certain operations on Excel. I even have a tax on Excel as well that you have to perform, and it'll be good for you to be able to understand these basic operations. So yeah, let's get cracking. So yeah, so what we have here is we have a data set is about um so this the number of rows you have in the data set. So it is about 422,683 rows in this data set. And so in order for you to be able to access that information, you just have to click at the top column of your Excel sheet, where you have the letters, A, B, C, D. So once you click on it all the way down, and then it just shows you the count, which is basically the number of rows you have in the data set. So that's just one way of you knowing your count value. I mean, you could also use some formulas as well, but yeah, not really necessary because this time around it's quite clear. It's just there unless you want it printed out in a particular sheet, which subsequent videos I can probably show you how to use functions. Which you click here, you'll be able to insert functions. Yeah, you have your count here. So yeah, so but this is not part of the scope for now. So yeah, so that's it. So this data set, and then if you want to tell me amount of columns you have in your data sets, you can just click to click horizontally. So you have where you have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the leftmost part of your spreadsheet, and then you click on one of the numbers, and then it's able to give you the count value, which is 11. And also at the same time, you can also still perform that as well using formulas. And then yeah, so you have, so that's basically, so we have 11 columns and 422,683 rows. So this is a lot of data we're talking about. My computer is already making, it's already making a noise. You can hear the fan, blowing rapidly already. Yeah, because of the amount of data it needs to process, and that will probably further increase, depending on the computer and your processing unit, when we start performing certain operations like filtering and sorting, and the likes. So yeah, so that's basically it. And so basically this data set is a data set from graduate outcomes. So there is something called graduate outcomes in the United Kingdom where they try to determine, how well, graduates are performing, after their studies, so after their probably their undergraduate degree, their postgraduate degree, and then it's not just graduate home students or home-based students, is looking at, everybody that have studied in the UK, from different parts of the world. So, if you are an international student, if you are, from, England, so this domicile, so basically your location. So you're from England, you're from Europe, one of you part of the EU, and countries from non-European countries where you probably have countries like Nigeria, and other African countries or America. Northern Ireland is also part of the UK, not known. Basically, they don't have that information because basically the graduate outcome is a survey and then it's given out after a year. I think after a year or 15 months. I think it's after 15 months of your studies or thereabouts. And then they send you this survey. I can remember I also received this survey as well, and then you just fill it. And then when you respond to it, they're going to use that to perform analysis on okay, how well are students performing after they have graduated from the university, and then also if there are certain improvements that needs to be made, in terms of okay, should we tailor our courses this way so that students can get more or can get more results and positive results, if our modules can be created certain ways or things like that. So generally just having an understanding of the kind of students that they have and the kind of students that are performing well in um, in the UK. And so that's basically that. So like I said initially, we're going to be looking at certain operations, three operations, and then which is referring to filtering, sorting, and find or searching. And so first thing I'll work with is search. So in order to search, we would just basically have to click on this part of your. You can see this icon here, which seems looks like a magnifying glass, and the text under it you can see find and select, which basically just helps you find certain information. And then it's at the home tab. You get that menu from the home tab. So when you click on the home tab, you'll be able to actually see that. And then so when you click on it, you'd see a lot of options that you can actually use. So you have to find and replace. Find and replace basically would change that item for you. And then we have so many others as well. There's conditional formatting, which is also very important, and then we'll talk about that later, in subsequent videos. And then we have data validation as well. So we'll touch on some of these. But for now, we're just going to define, and maybe we'll also just going to replace as well. So for define, basically just click on find, and let's say I am looking for um let me see, I'm looking for Scotland. So I'm just going to type Scotland here, and then I would just click on next, and then you can notice that it find the next entry that has that name Scotland in the data set. So if I click on next again, it finds the next entry. If I click on find all, now this is probably going to take some time because of the amount of um, records that we have in data sets. So basically what find all would do is it will find all the countries in, or we find all the entries in the data set that had the name Scotland. So this is probably going to take some time, so I'll probably pause the video here until this is able to work. Yeah, so we have it here, so you can see this is all the values. So this is where we have Scotland, so you can see the cell where we have Scotland. So basically this is just showing that it's at column B and row 8. So if you go to column B row 8, you see that. Then we have column B row 19. So if you go all the way down, you can see that Scotland. So basically it just provides all that information for you. So this is also another way as well where you can find them elements. And then if you want to use a shortcut for this in case you want to be faster, you can just press. So if you're using a Windows computer, you press Control F, which would bring out that pop-up window for you. Or if you're using your MacBook, you press Command and F, and then you have, this is basically the same. This is basically the same pop-up window, but this time around it's just um, sort of like a smaller version. I think when you use your Windows, it's probably going to give you the same the pop window for you. But yeah, I think because um this is Mac, but let me click on advanced search and see. So yeah, so if I click on advanced search, it gives me that same pop-up window that we have. So yeah, so that's basically how to perform your search or find. And then if you want to perform a replace, and if you notice from here, you can actually just click on replace, and then you're able to add your replace value. But if you would want to start from from scratch, you can find it here. So just click on replace, and then it takes you to here. So you can say okay, Scotland, and then you want to replace Scotland with let's say Scottish. And then if you say replace, it's going to replace just one. So it's going to replace the very first entry notices, which is going to be at row 8. If you say replace all, it's going to replace every single entry in the data set, that has the name Scotland. And then yeah, so I'm just going to click on replace. So I don't want to mess up the data set. So I'll click on replace. And then okay, so let me use capsule letter for this one. So say Scotland, and then replace with Scottish, replace. Mm, So okay, let me click on next and let's see. So next, replace. Yeah. So now if you notice, you see row 30 has been replaced with Scottish, and yeah. So initially, why it wasn't working was because I was not on that row. So let me just undo this, and then to undo, you can easily just press your Command and Z letter, or you can just come here and click on it, and it undoes it, and you see we're back to Scotland. So if I come from the very beginning and click on this guy here, and then I'm expecting it to change this row because it's the next available entry of Scotland. So if I click on replace, and still not working, let me see. Let me highlight that and click on replace. Mm, Click on next, click on replace. Okay, yeah. So you click on next first, then click on replace, and then it replaces that. Normally, it's not meant to do that, but I don't know why. Because normally, when you're trying to do a find and replace, it's basically you should just filter, through the search, and then filter through the data set, and then just replace the first available entry of that particular word that you're trying to replace. So yeah, so I'm going to undo this, and yeah, basically, so that's how to perform your find or your search and find, and like basically it helps in preparing your data sets. So let's say, for instance, especially with the find and replace. So let's say you have one entry of this data set that's spelled wrongly. So if Scotland is spelled wrongly and say it's spelled with an S, whereas it's meant to be Scotland without the S, you can easily just replace that. So and also you can use Control H to bring that back up, or you can use Control F, to bring that back up. Click on advanced search, and then click on replace, and then I would say Scotland with the S, and I just want Scotland, and I'm going to put it here. I'll say Scotland, and then click on next, click on replace, and then yeah, we already have that. So at row 8 is change it to Scotland without the S. So that's how you do that. So that is for search and find. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, it can help you prepare your data sets. And with just the find, it helps you locate certain entries or items in the data set. And then for filter. Now one thing about me is when I'm working on a data set, I like having my columns or having the filters enabled, because that way it's just easy for you, to work with them. Some people would probably just enable just one particular column, and then they were able to filter that column because maybe that's just what they want to work with. But a lot of times I want to filter all columns. I want all columns to have the filter enabled, because you never can tell, which columns you want to filter or not. Well, But basically, for the first, if you just want to do one column, you can just select the column, and then you click on the filter menu, click on filter here, and then you have you have the filter, button. But right now, funny enough, it already selects it already enables all the columns for filter. Well, let me undo this and right click. So click on right click on filter, and then we can say filter by sales value, and then we have just that filter enabled for just that particular column. Let me undo this. Highlight that, click on no. Okay, yeah. So if you'd want to perform a filter for just one particular column, you just highlight the column you want to filter, and then click on filter, and then yeah, so it's just that column is affecting, it doesn't affect any other column. And so when we come to this column, we can actually see all the entries for that column. So this column obviously have repeated values, and then let's say I just want to see entries for just England, and I click on England, and then it shows me entries for just England. you know if I want to find the number of, or the count or number of entries that this particular domicile have, which is England, I can just highlight the column as well. I can see that that's for the 4,071 rows. So that's how to perform filter for just one column. If you want to select it, you want to select everything back, you just come here and click on selector, and then you have your normal data set as it's meant to be. And then if you want to filter all columns, which I just realized that you don't necessarily have to highlight all the columns. What I normally do is I will highlight the columns and then click on filter, and then it filters everything. But it seems now, what I just realized, you don't necessarily even have to do that. So you can just basically just click on one of the columns, and then click on filter, and then you already have your filter enabled for all. So you can actually come here. So let's say I want for domicile, I just want to show, let's say, just Scotland, and then I click on Scotland, and then it filters for me. And then I want to perform another filter, another column to further filter this, and say, okay, so I'm interested in Scotland, and also if activity, I'm interested in let's say full-time employment. So I don't care about any other type of employment. I'm just interested in full-time employment, and I click on full-time employment, and then so I'm just having those entries for full-time employment and Scotland. And if I want to check the counts, find the number of rows or number of entries for these two conditions I've created, I just click on cell, highlight it, and you can see it's just 2,905 that actually fulfill these conditions. So I can actually remove this filter, selecting all, and then come here as well, select all to bring my data, my data set back to normal. So that's basically it about filter. Remember, click here, you click on your filter, it highlights all the columns for you, and then, or it enables filter for all the columns, and then you're able to, yeah, perform whatever filtration you want to do, based on what you're interested in seeing. And then last but not the least, which is sorting. So basically, sorting just helps you organize your data set. So in terms of alphabetical order. So if you have, I hope we have numbers here. So yeah, so we have numbers here. So let's say, so if you have letters, so it's just going to filter based off of whatever condition you've had. So if you filter in ascending or descending order, so if it's ascending order, it's going to filter your data set having, starting with the first letter of the alphabet, which is A, then going to B, C, D. So what I can do is I'll just highlight this, and then I click on sort. So you can see A to Z, and I click on sort A to Z, and selection will be, yeah, sort, and then yeah, so it starts with England. So this is England, and then if you go all the way down, we probably will find Scotland, somewhere. And if I do not want to bother myself with that stress, I can just check it from here. No, this doesn't work here. So I will just have to scroll all the way down to find Scotland, or to find the next letter rather. Um, I think after E, the next letter should actually be N. So if it's okay, then we have EU. Then after EU will be um N. So yeah, so actually correct. So rather than doing that, you can just come here and you can actually see that it's already ordered. So you have England first, you have European Union, you have the non-European Union, and then so it shows you all England first before then it goes to European Union, then non-European Union, then Northern Ireland. Then before we get to S, then Wales, which is obviously the last, which is W, which is obviously the last letter, of the alphabet. And yeah, that's for that. So if I should revert this, back to how it was originally, and then if I do filter from Z to A, so we're going to have Wales first. So I'm going to highlight this and then filter from Z to A, and next continue current selection, next selection, and then we click on sort, and then we have Wales, and then we just have it's filtering for. So we have it's filtering from Z to A. So obviously Wales will start first because it's starting from Z. So you want the last letter of the alphabet to show first, all the way down. So it is sort of like descending order. And then yeah, so we have that. And then if you'd want to perform filter for, or sorry, if you want to perform sorting, for all the elements of your table, you can easily, if you want to perform sorting for all the elements of the table, you can easily select all the items of your, you can select all the items of your data sets or your spreadsheet. So let's first of all, let me clear this out, and then let's filter this. Let's filter all. Okay, so we're back to original data sets, and let us filter based off all the entries. So I can easily just click on this part of your Excel sheet and highlight all the tables for you, all the highlight basically the entire spreadsheet, and all your columns will be highlighted. And then from there on, I can click on sort from A to Z, and then we're going to wait for it to run. Let me try this by highlighting this. Let me highlight this manually all the way down. And then let's perform the sorting one more time. And then yeah, so we sort from A to Z. So what I'm noticing is it's just affecting just the first one, which is not what I want. So what I'm going to do is I am going to revert this. So I'm going to undo this, and then I'm going to highlight each column one after the other, and then we're going to perform the sorting. And then so hopefully this would work out. Yeah, I think that should be all. And then yeah, so click on it, perform sorting A to Z. Let's see. We don't know what to read selection, select everything range. Okay, so apparently that cannot be done. And then yeah, so you just have to select just one, one item, and then click on A to Z, continue correct selection. Let's see what this will do. Um, Okay, let me see. Let's try with this one. Click from A to Z. Continue with correct selection. Sort. Hmm, that's interesting. Okay. Control Z. Hmm. So yeah, so basically that's basically it for sorting as well. And then if you'd want to sort numbers, so if you're sorting numbers, it's going to sort the numbers from lowest to highest if you're using ascending, or from highest to lowest if you're using them descending. So you just highlight your column as usual. Click on here. Click on sort, smallest to largest. Click on sort, and then yeah, so we have the lowest, which is 0. So if you click on here, you'll be able to see that as well. So we have 0, then the next will be 5, then 10, 15. So this is the order you have right now in your spreadsheet on your data set. And then if you want to perform your filter based off of um highest to lowest, so you click on it, and so you sort largest to smallest, and then you click on it, and then and then yeah, you're able to see that. So this easily just makes you understand, the kind of data sets that you have. For some funny reason, it's not showing that here. Well, let me see. Click on it one more time. Click on descending, and yeah, we can easily just scroll all the way to the bottom, and then we can actually see that. And then this looks a little bit confusing, but yeah, but it's definitely bigger. So we easily just have our um, largest largest numbers, so which is this one. So this can easily help you understand, okay, which number is the largest in your data set, or in this particular column in your data set, or of your data set. Another way you can easily do it using formulas as well. Like I said, we'll get to videos where we'll start talking about formulas. But another way you can do it is using formulas. You can just say max, and then you put in this range, and then you'll be able to get the maximum of this, which is also very easy as well to use that and get that information, because there's any times that it might not necessarily be you know just the maximum you're looking for, or you want to perform certain further operations on that max that you have, and you don't want it to be um so static that you have to just perform a sort before you're able to get the answer, or you have maybe multiple columns that have different numbers, and you just want to easily know all the maximum numbers of all those columns. So you can easily use that formula, and then it just gives you the answer without you necessarily performing all this sort. And it's also easy as well, because then your computer, your the processing power it will use on your computer will not be as much as performing this. But yeah, but right now we can easily tell that, okay, this is the largest number, and the second largest number is this. We can easily tell that 0 is the smallest number, if we sort ways of this, smallest to largest, and then be able to tell that 0 is the smallest number, and then after 0, then 5, and after 5, then 10. So that's basically it about sorting. Um, Let me quickly undo this and also sort for date as well. So let me take this back to so taking it back to how we met it. So if you want to sort for dates as well, it's just going to give you the same thing as well. It's going to give you the earlier dates first. So but just to show you that I would sort from Z to A, and then let's say sort, and then so you can see, so it's giving you the so because we're starting from Z to A, so it's giving you the largest first, which is the most recent date, which is 2020 2021, or because the academic year, so it's 2020 2021. So and if you want to get um the farthest date, or the first entry, or the first academic year available in this data set, then we'll just sort from A to Z, and then we click on sort, and yeah, so we have 2017/18. So that's basically, so it's going to work for any kind of data um, data that you have in your data set. So if you have dates, if you have numbers, if you have characters, if you have currency, it's going to be able to perform the sort for you. And then yeah, so those are like pretty easy functions that you can use. So the functions are probably available here, and then also available here as well. So you can actually come here, you still see these same functions here. Like for instance, if I click on this now and then I'm looking for filter, and let me say filter, and then you can see your filter. If you look for sorts, you can see your sorts. You can even have another one called sort by, and if you are looking for find, I don't know about find, but yeah, so we also have find here as well. So yeah, so that's basically it. So it's definitely easier using it this way, but then when you have to perform more complicated task, then you probably have to use your functions to perform that. So yeah, so that's basically it, and that's how to perform those functions, and I hope yeah that I was able to help out. Yeah, so I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you with that video. But yeah, I try to make it as vulnerable as possible, so you understand that yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. People do make mistakes. You're not going to remember everything every single time, and then yeah, sometimes you will just still learn in the process. I mean, I was making that video, I was still learning in the process. I got some like revelations, or I got certain things revealed to me, as I was, making the video as well. And yeah, so it was quite interesting. So we're actually both learning at the same time. So yeah, so it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be vulnerable, and at the same time, as you are, performing these operations or functions, you would also learn new things as well by yourself. So that's why it's always key to always practice. So yeah, so that's basically it. That's how to filter, sort, and also search or find. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe. So yeah, so until next time, stay the kind of story, and stay safe.
Me I no send them enemies around me. Me I'm gonna gun them. My mind on my moolah, pay me my moolah. My mind on my moolah, moolah. My mind is made up,